Howdy ho, my peeps. Boy, it's a beautiful Friday, early afternoon, and I had another semi-sleepless night. Didn't get to sleep until about 4, but I slept a good 5 hours after that, and I'd slept about 3 hours last night, so I'm doing okay. I've got so many things to share with you, and they're all sort of disjointed. So instead of trying to do one big long video, I'm going to probably come at you with a number of smaller videos back to back. So this video is all about what I bought at Joann's Fabric. And let me show you what I bought at Joann's Fabric. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pause you a second. Okay, I'm back. Let me back up. This fabric here, which is one of the few pieces I have left of this, is a gorgeous chiffon. I think I got it at one of the Joann fabric stores, not the one I went to last night, but a different one. And this stuff is wonderful. The way it moves, its drape, its hand is very silky. You don't feel the weave when you run your fingers on it. It's just perfect if you want something that moves around in the wind nicely, blah, blah. I mean, having like a 1950s dress with a big old skirt and little ruffled bodice made out of this stuff would be heavenly. It would just move constantly. Anyway, point is I went back to get some more. So I did not have a piece of the fabric, and that was my first mistake. I should always bring some. So I picked this out. I thought it's not exactly the same color, but I need more of a mauve. And I'm looking at it, moving it around and feeling it. The weave, you can feel the weave. It's coarser. Still pretty, you know, still floaty, but not perfect. So I walked down the aisle a little bit and I found another one. All right, this is better. This is floatier. It feels a little bit more lightweight. It is close to the same color, although not exact. And then I looked at it through the light and I could see the weave and I could feel it. I'm like, what the heck? So I walked up and down the aisles, could not find, whoa, this exact fabric. So that's cool. I can use the ones I picked out. But, you know, I'm about 33% autistic anyway, so tactile experiences are really important to me. And when I'm expecting something to feel a certain way and it doesn't, it drives me cray. I mean, I'll start to obsess. I have to find the thing that felt that other way, or I'm not going to be able to function. So that means another shopping trip. But I'm on my way to making new new flowers. Hi Sharon, I can't answer you right now. I'm going to call you back as soon as I'm done with this video. Okay. That's going to be weird. She's going to hear that in after the fact time. Weird. Anyhow, so what my thought was last night is I am just loving all these sort of blushy colors. I love this satin. I bought this satin years ago at an antique store that was going out of business. And I thought, you know, I love the flowers that are basically skin color, but they're like 4 or 5 different colors of skin color and different weights of fabric all together in like a big peony or something. And I really want to make some of those. So I picked out some more fabrics, and let me show you the other ones I got. I'm just going to drape these over my shoulder so you can see how they differ. It's gorgeous blush colored satin, and then a pinker, sort of a more of an what do you call this color? Almost more of a purplish. God, can you even see it? You can't, huh? You do it like this. Almost more of a purplish pink. they kind of look the same on camera, but they're not. This is a purpley color. This is more of a blush pink. This is a satin, and this is a crepe satin. So the textures are a little bit different. Colors are a little bit different. Then I picked up this, which is a much lighter pink silk satin. I thought it would coordinate beautifully with those. So, man, I was on a roll. So, I'm going to make some really big peony or cabbage rose style roses with those colors, and I'm so looking forward to it. I am also going to make a bridal bouquet, and like I told you, I've got a friend who's got a bakery. It's actually my son's friend, but he's a really cool guy, and I'm going to take a bridal bouquet over to him and say, hey, listen, he set me up with some sales. We'll do a percentage, kickback. So I'm going to see if I can elicit some business that way. All right, so I'm standing in line. This show and tell has a story that goes along with it. I'm standing in line, and I noticed that behind the counter, they had all the go-back fabrics and the hold fabrics, and I saw this burlap right here. And I asked the guy, I said, is that a go-back? I'd like to buy it or some of it. And he says, yeah, he says, pulls it out and opens it up, and he says, oh, look, it's cut crooked. He says, I'll give you 75% off. I'm like, yeah, I'll take the whole thing. So he set me up with the burlap. And just as I was just as I was done, I spied this. Look at this. Look at this color of pink. It's that stuff that goes back and forth from gold to pink. And then he says, is that all? And I said, no. I said, give me a half a yard of that mermaid tail fabric. And he laughed, and he runs over and grabs it, and he opens it up, and he looks at me, and he says, it's $30 a yard. Are you sure you want it? I said, well, yeah. I said, I'll take a half a yard. And then he said, he says, go ahead and sign up online for this thing, and you're going to get 2 50% off coupons for one item if you sign up online and leave your email. He said, then you can come back and you can get what you want of that. And then the companion colors, which was more iridescent blues and greens, and you can buy a yard of that. You can use them both at the same time. I mean, it's so totally helpful. Well, so then he's measuring out my fabric, right? And he measures it out. He's real efficient. He's talking to me, measuring fabric, writing stuff down. I mean, he's like on it, multitasking. And he measures the fabric, and he clips it, and then he looks at me and he says, do you mind if I tear this? And I said, do I mind if you tear this? I said, that's the proper way to do fabric in a fabric store. If you can tear it, you're supposed to tear it. That's the way you're supposed to do it. I said, nobody knows that anymore. And he says, oh gosh, he says, I worked at this other fabric store that closed, one that I used to go to back when I had my store back in the late 80s and early 90s. And he said, I used to work there since I was in high school, and I worked with all these older women who had been working there already for 30 years. So I got taught the old school way of doing fabric. And we're just chatting our heads off as he's working and we're doing stuff. And he's like, oh, he says, wait a minute. He says, I think there's an additional discount on this fabric. And he checks his little thing. He says, yep, this fabric is 40% off. So the man really set me up. And as we were kind of wrapping it up, I said, I laughed and said, getting older has a lot of perks. And I said, one of them is that I've become one of those women who will go into a store. I'll help people find stuff they can't find. I'll tell them where they can get it cheaper if I see it more expensive and they've got it in their cart. And then I will try to educate the service staff if they're screwing up. And he laughs and he says, and here comes the story part. He laughs and he says, oh yeah, he says, I guess you just get to the point where it doesn't matter anymore. And we kept on our thing. But that comment stuck in my head, and I thought there's something wrong with that comment. And when I got into the car, I realized what it is, and I told Grant, I said, I understand why he said that. That's what most people would say. I said, but that is not really what's at issue here. The issue is that you suddenly realize, or at least I did, that not only does it not matter anymore, but it never mattered to begin with. I could have been aggressively nice and helpful and, sail in like I do now, like a big old fashioned transatlantic ocean liner, and be who I am, and, just not engage with whether or not I'm getting, the side eye from some overly coiffed woman with her little dog under her arm, or some hippie kid who doesn't understand old ladies, or whatever. I don't care. Don't know. Don't care. Um, what matters is to always be able to be yourself, who you are in any situation, particularly a social situation. And so it never mattered in the first place is the answer to that question. Being worried about what other people think doesn't matter, never has, doesn't matter how old you are. So go forth, all of my young viewers, and be yourself. Do not be afraid to crack a joke. Do not be afraid to compliment somebody. Do not be afraid to tell a salesperson, hey, you know what? This is the better way to do that. You probably were just never trained. Don't be afraid. Doesn't matter if they do the thing that you said or they don't. It doesn't matter. What matters is you are authentically being you. And as I have said many times this past year, authenticity is the new black. Always be authentic. Always be who you are. So that's my little story and some of the gorgeous things I ended up with yesterday. I have a whole Tuesday morning haul, not a big one, but some interesting things different than what I bought the last time. I'm finally done at Tuesday morning. I managed to go through all the aisles of both the stores, spent a lot of time. I bought some beautiful towels and kind of completed my whole Tuesday morning fix. Don't need to go back. I do, however, man, I got to find that other fabric. I will not rest until I find it, and I'm going to buy the whole dang bolt. However much they got, I'm buying it, because when they get it in again, it might be the same color, it might be the same SKU number, it might be the same manufacturer, but it might not feel the same. And to me, that is ultimately important. So, on that little weird note, I'm going to say goodbye to you. I'm going to call Sharon back, and I will probably come at you with another video today. Bye!